Let's take a seat and begin with a bow. Let's just take 3 very conscious breaths to enter our body and our practice today. Great. Now let's come to all fours. We'll start with some threading the needle and cat cows today. So we'll come to all fours, tabletop, putting anything under your knees if that requires a little bit of cushion today. Find your stable base, and then we'll start to undulate the spine, sinking down the belly and arching the spine back and forth with the breath, waking up the whole body. Woohoo! We have a spine, and it works today. So let's feel it. Ooh, let's feel good. Whew. Letting out any sounds that might be trapped in the spinal column, really expressing this moment of release. And some lateral stretches looking back towards the feet. Letting the breath be free, remaining evenly balanced between the knees and the hands. And then coming back to center, find a neutral spine. Get any last minute wiggles out here. Just moving and grooving. And then we'll thread the needle. So let's start with the left hand. Reach it up into the sky and then thread it on underneath that right arm. Rest the head down. And then you can use that right hand to kind of twist yourself so that you can look more towards the sky. But remembering that we don't need too much effort here. Finding that balance. Where am I holding and pushing too aggressively? Where is it just enough structure that I can hold this shape with dignity? We're not lazy in the shape, but we're not really strong and forceful either. We're just somewhere in between. Feeling that good compression on the left shoulder. If you feel like you've got good balance here, you could take that right hand behind your back, creating a little bit more of an opening in that right shoulder. This is just an experiment, something to try on for size. As long as you don't feel like your neck is holding your entire body, just check in here. See if the head is just like pushing into the ground. See if you can just kind of let go some of the muscles that are working extra hard there. Find more support in the feet and the knees and the shoulder. Distributing the weight evenly through the body. And then if you had the bind, you can bring your hand back down to the ground. That right hand can push into the floor. And now we're back in our tabletop position. Let the blood come back into that shoulder. Feel the energetic quality that the body is demonstrating currently. Perhaps you take another couple wiggles here. Find your stance, find a good balance, relieve the knees for a moment. Just lifting your limbs off the ground, just feeling that kind of release of pressure here. And we'll take our thread the needle on the other side. So lifting that right arm up into the air, wiggle your fingers and then dive them through. Resting on the right temple and right shoulder. And that left hand can push into the ground so that you can turn your spine upwards. Again, finding that balance, experimenting with pushing into the floor for support, for yielding into the floor for support. Without aggravating the tissues, without tensing up unnecessary muscles. Checking in with the jaw, the forehead. You want to place your left arm behind your back here. You're more than welcome to try that out. Releasing into the shape. Making sure the breath isn't trapped or caught anywhere. Allowing your body to circulate freely. Imagine that all the cells have freedom to swirl around, not get trapped in any one spot. And you can place that left hand back down. Push into it to come back to all fours again. Stay in this tabletop to feel for a moment. Sliding and gliding fluids of the body. Cool. And so it's Thursday, so I'm adding a little bit more yang into the yin today because that's what the day yoga is for. And we're gonna push up into a downward dog now. We won't be here for that long, but let's try to find that balance again like we did in the thread the needle. So just pushing your hips up and back. It's okay to have a little bend in the knees. That'll help get into the spine a little bit more. Push into your hands. And find the evenly distributed weight here. So we're not collapsing into the shoulders. We're not just fully extended with the toes and the legs. There's this weight balance, like water in a jug, how it all evenly disperses. Let the waters of you evenly spread out. So you're pushing into the palms, you're pushing into the heels, but there's a light touch about it. It's not aggressive. It's somewhere in between yin and yang. We're in a yang pose, but let's find the yin within it, the space within the shape. And you find release and ease within the effort. Relaxing the neck, relaxing the jaw. Smooth, fluid, even waters. Well done. Now let's take that right foot and you can walk it or help it on through to the front of your space, and then slide that right foot over a teeny tiny bit so it's kind of near the level of your shoulder, and your hands are on the inside of the foot. So we're in our dragon, and we can place blocks or bolsters underneath so we have support for our hands if the floor is too far away. Or you could even come down onto your elbows if you want to try that on for size, but you might need a pillow or a blanket there too. Yogi's choice. Arms extended or arms bent, with props, without. Once you find where you think you'd like to be, we'll find that even distribution of weight again. There's no one place that's holding the whole body upright. We've got lots of places for support here. We've got the hands. The shoulders don't have to do too much. We've got the feet. The back of, or the top of the left foot is also pushing down. That left knee is providing support. And the body can be light here. You don't have to force anything. Letting the cells just dance and breathe, flowing freely through the whole body. Nothing is clenched. Meditating on sensation, what this shape brings up. What does the mind like to label here? Can we stay with our shaky bodies, with our increasing warmth? Excellent. So now let's just take a tiny twist, taking the right hand, and you can push on that knee, opening it up, and take a peek behind you. You can also just twist without the knee extended out. It's just a little addition for some hip opening. Breathing, finding space. Come back to center, place the hands inside the leg again, and then just lift the torso up for a moment. Say hello to a little back bend, and then we can come back down, return to a downward dog. It's so funny to me when teachers are like, you never thought downward dog would be such a relief. But I feel it sometimes. It's like, whoa, yeah, this is actually really nice after a dragon. Airing out the system, finding the relief, extending yourself into relief. Now we'll bring that left foot up, helping it as much as possible, walking it or stepping it up, and then give it a little room to come out towards the left shoulder. You can always push that right knee back a little bit. You find a place where it feels like, okay, that's where I want my knee to be. We'll situate our hands down on a prop or on the floor. Notice if you're collapsing at all in any place. Notice if you're gripping or tensing at all. Start to swim in yourself. Find the little glorious places where it's like, that's light, that's fresh, that's airy. This feels like there's a lot of circulation happening here. Going towards that and leaning into that. Balance of effort and relaxation. There's a whole study and teaching practice called Body Mind Centering, developed by Bonnie Bainbridge Cohen. And she goes through all the developmental patterns that we go through from utero to through infancy to like basic complex patterns of being a human. And she talks about pushing to reach. How as babies we push into the ground of support to reach and suspend up. That's how we become vertical beings, because we use the ground to push into, to extend outward. So can you find that balance here where you're pushing and reaching, pushing to reach, as opposed to collapsing or forcing? It's an even, gentle approach. Here to take that little twist, pushing out the left knee, taking a peek behind you. Very good. Coming back around. Take one last little push off the ground to extend your spine long. Maybe even tip your head back a little bit. Look at the ceiling. Take a little bit of a back bend. And then come back down. Place both your hands on the floor. Swing that leg back around. And we'll take one more downward dog. 3 conscious breaths here. Let them be audible. Like Ujjayi breath, ocean waves. Very nice. We will transition now into our sleeping swan. So let's start with the right leg this time. Tucking that knee in towards the right wrist. Extending your spine up long. Perhaps it is here that we stay today. A wonderful, dignified position. A great opportunity to figure out the push to reach, the yielding into the floor, a gentle distribution of weight through the whole body. But you're always welcome to reach for a nice big bolster and come down as much as you'd like into your sleeping swan. You can imagine how a baby is developing. They don't have muscle tone yet. They're just kind of wiggling and grooving on the ground. And as they figure out how to extend and find their muscles, they use the floor to wiggle, to push, to move, to start to extend themselves. You see them on the floor pushing their arms like this, or on their backs with their hands all wiggling around. So we can kind of find that baby-like quality here. And imagine we don't really have too much muscles. How would we use the ground to find support? Without pulling away from the ground is our friend. We're floor people. Feel a sense of sinking into the earth. Sinking into any support you've got, props. We'll be here for like one more minute. See if we can stay finding the relief within the intensity. Great. Now, if you're sleeping swan, you can start to rise back up, and then we'll slowly sneak our legs back. And you can keep a prop there if you'd like. We're just gonna sneak down into Sphinx pose. And so you're welcome to place your arms on top of your prop, or you can slide them underneath your prop. You can even rest your head down. Little baby Sphinx. There's the relief we've been looking for. Swim in it, absorb it, note what it feels like. Option to straighten the arms briefly. We'll come back to this. Good. Now we'll just push back to a tabletop again. Maybe lifting the knees and the hands again, just finding that decompression response. Just feeling what it's like to be light and lifted off the ground. And then we'll set up for our sleeping swan on the other side. Left knee comes to left wrist. Find a nice, comfy, centered swan. Plenty of support. And if you decide that you want to stay upright, maybe you could switch so the palms so that the fingertips are pointing backwards. And you can get a little wrist stretch up in there. But at any time, you're always welcome to just lay down in your swan. Whatever suits your fancy today. And we're just soft babies again. Soft muscles, soft jaw, soft face. Just a few more moments here. Soft body. If your hands were turned around, you can turn them back around. If you're in sleeping swan, you can start to rise back up. And then once we get to the top, we very slowly, gently return to a tabletop position, dragging that knee back. And then we can lower our bellies down to the floor, coming into a Sphinx again, with or without your prop. And this is a really easy place to imagine being a baby because you can see it. The way they're like, oh my god, the world. You kind of have to get into the mindset a little bit.
Blah!
Yeah. Just like, whoa, look at everything, the sky, the colors. And my head is just so disconnected from my body. So you can like play around here, find that baby mind of pushing into the earth to suspend and look upward. They're looking for food, they're looking for their mom. They're mostly using their mouth to kind of figure out. It's called mouthing. And it looks kind of awkward, but you could like use your mouth to kind of search, like a big searchlight. It's like, where's mommy? Looking around. It's pretty remarkable how we just naturally figure it out how to become bipedal people just by using the floor and using our instincts to figure out how to get around. Just playing in this little space here, pushing to reach. Maybe the baby gets a little bit stronger and they come to their hands now. They're pushing into their hands and they're still looking around. This is about when maybe they start to figure out how to crawl. But first they're just kind of slithering about, pretty stationary, just banging on the ground, falling over. But with our conscious brains as adults, we can figure out these patterns. They're innate in us. And we can practice differentiating those systems in our body so that we can integrate effortless, more efficient patterning. It's kind of fun thinking about it like that instead of a back bend. It's like when you're thinking, oh, this is a back bend, it's like, oh my god, my back. But if you're thinking about it like, oh, this is supportive, this is the way that the body wants to move, to look, to see, to find, it's a whole different shape, it's a whole different asana. We'll be here for just a tiny bit longer. It's possible to find a little bit more ease. 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 A little b And slowly lower everything down. Take a little break, like a mini shavasana on the belly. Maybe there's a little explosion of sensation in the lower spine. Just feeling the tissues responding. Just flip over like a pancake onto our back. Boom. Take a big X marks the spot for a moment. Let out any sounds that might be trapped. And now, a twist. So this time, let's take our right foot and place it over the left thigh. So it's one bent knee twist. Twisting over to the left and grabbing some cushions to support your shoulder or support that knee in the twist. Absolutely no forcing here. Just let the body do its thing with gravity. Your insides get all mushy. The shoulders. Just let go. You don't need to work it all right now. The jaw and the face especially do not need to be working right now. Swimming in the ocean of you. Dialing back the volume of the thoughts. Sinking deeper beneath your own skin. Embodied. Like you just shook up a jug of water and then everything settles down, dispersing evenly. The water becomes clear and still. allow the breath to be audible again. Ujjayi breath, like ocean waves. Make your way back to center after your next exhalation. Slowly unwind. Discover the ground again. Feel the reverb, the echo. The body finding equilibrium. Let's take a little bit of a wiggle. Just get everything moving again. Blah, baby on the ground. Blah, blah, blah. Woo! I don't know anything. You're just a big pile of mush. And then we'll take that twist on the other side. So left foot over right knee this time. And bring it over and down, supporting it. Or letting it just hang out. Gravity will do its job. And as time goes on, you'll notice there's a little bit less tense, a little bit less intense. Things start to gradually just make their way to the earth naturally. The body starts to relax. It gets used to the shape. Just observing how the body collaborates with itself. It recalibrates. more breath here. And slowly starting to gradually feel your way back to the floor. Every little part of you comes down to the floor, one part after the other, feeling everything as you go. Coming to your X marks the spot, and it is here that we will Shavasana. Take any final movements, anything, a good squeeze, a good shake. Maybe you just kind of get all the lymph moving in the body by just slowly stroking the outer surfaces. Just moving any excess tension that might just be still lingering around. Anything that suits you here. Anything that feels good. And then you can let it all go. Give a big sigh of relief. Letting the sounds of the city streets, the hustle and bustle of the world beyond come into your ears. Slowly manifesting more movement in the body. Articulate, stretch out, yawning, breathing, sighing. Give yourself a little pat, a little squeeze, maybe even a little hug. Thank your good self and your baby body for being what it is. For smiling because we can hear the ice cream truck too, which just brings us even more joy to our day.
Yes.
Yes. And we will dedicate our practice to the ice cream man and all the beings that keep our world turning. May you be happy. May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be at peace. Closing with a bow. Thank you.